Okay, welcome everyone. Today's topic is retiring early and confidently using real estate investing. Okay, so we're going to share three secrets of how you are going to be able to accomplish that. So let's start with this graph, the traditional way of people's thinking for retirement. Okay, so you reach a certain age, 60, 65, 66. I know they've been changing, updating the retirement age, and you're building, right, wealth and increasing your net worth throughout the years. Okay, so some of you are probably working hard to reach that financial independence. But then what happens once you reach that point, right? Most people end up having that fear that your net worth, your wealth will be depleted over time, right? Because then you're going to start taking withdrawals from your either pension instrument or your 401k, whatever you have, the retirement savings. So that's a big fear and a difficult place to be in, right? Where it's a lot of uncertainty financially, right? What if you live for the next 40 years after retirement, right? So will your retirement account be sufficient, right? How are you going to be able to cover for unexpected expenses, right? Will you be living the same lifestyle that you're used to, right? So that's one of the fears that most people have. So the question is, how do we reverse this concept? How do we accomplish exactly the same goal, but earlier and without having the fear of not being able to afford the same lifestyle that you are used to up until today, or even better, right? So let me show you the way to do it using real estate. Okay, so now when you invest in real estate, primarily rentals, okay, because real estate is a long-term investment, you're going to be able to reach that retirement age a lot sooner, okay, than the legal retirement age. As you can see here in the graph as an example, doing it right, you will not only be able to retire earlier, but you will never have to worry about depleting your retirement account. In fact, it's going to be the other way around. The longer you live, the higher your net worth will become. Okay, so you may wonder, how is that possible? What are we doing differently? Okay, it is very simple because what we're talking about here is building wealth over time through real estate by owning rentals. Okay, so how is that happening, right? How will we not worry about our bank account being depleted over time? Let's assume that we live 30, 40 years after retirement. It doesn't make sense, right, to most of you. Well, let me show you the secrets. Um, when you start accumulating rentals, think about these. Obviously, you may have a mortgage on the property, right? Which I think that's going to be a smart idea, and I'm going to explain why. Because the wealthy, let me tell you, the wealthy become wealthier because they're going to leverage from good debt and taxes. Okay, so how does that apply to retirement? Okay, so good debt is having mortgages being paid by other people. In this case, your tenants. Okay, so having a mortgage, it's a really good thing because you're not paying anything. Okay, so think about this. Through the amortization schedule on a 30-year loan, as time goes by, you start paying down your principal. Therefore, your net worth, your equity position on every single rental that you own will continue to increase as time goes by. Therefore, you won't have to worry about depleting your retirement account. Why? Because you're going to have more equity as time goes by. Why? Because property values tend to go up over time. Why? Because population growth continues to be on the rise. Therefore, rents are going, particularly now, through the roof. Okay, there's a scarcity of living spaces. Therefore, housing and rents are going up. So, what does that mean when you end up owning a rental for the next 20, 30 years or so? What happens is that not only will you be able to take advantage of the most powerful taxed benefit, which is depreciation, meaning that anything that you do on the property is going to be deductible. So it's going to be depreciated over time. So any project, any repairs, any maintenance is going to help you decrease your taxable income in a legal, ethical way. On top of it, you're adding value to that particular property. So over time, guess what? If you need, let's say, to pay for your children's college, for your children's wedding, how are you gonna pay for that, right? You may be wondering. Well, you won't directly pay for it, but the tenants will. So how does that happen? The way it happens is that wealthy people never sell properties, okay? They refinance. Okay, so we say that as time goes on, your net worth, meaning the property, the equity position in your rental, will go up. Therefore, if you need to, let's say, pay for college, then you're going to tap into that equity by refinancing, doing a cash out refinance. So you're going to tap into the equity, get money out, and then pay for whatever you need to pay or whatever you want to do with it. Travel the world, whatever you want to do. So it's extremely, extremely powerful because number one, you won't have to repay that money directly out of your pocket. It's going to come out of the tenant's pocket. Why? Because they're going to be paying rent for utilizing your property, and that rent is going to cover pretty much the refinance expense or the existing or new mortgage on it. Okay, so it's sort of like free money. Not only that, but when you refinance, you do not incur a tax, I would say a tax penalty per se, right? Because when you sell a property, right, you're paying taxes on it. But when you refinance, you don't have to worry about paying taxes because those are deferred up until you sell the property. But you don't need to sell the property. You will only refinance the property. So again, by keeping rentals and continue to build your rental empire, not only will you increase your net worth on a yearly basis, but your cash flow will continue to grow over time, which obviously does not happen if you follow the traditional retirement instruments. Let's say a pension plan, a 401k, it might be volatile depending on the if you have your retirement on let's say mutual fund, index funds. It could vary, right? Go up and down. So it's very uncertain. And your guess what? Your withdrawal amounts will continue to be the same forever. Whereas when you are in real estate and you utilize real estate or rentals as your retirement instrument, guess what? Your monthly withdrawals could go up every year. Why? Because rents continue to go up. So your cash flow will naturally continue to go up as time goes by. Especially now, that interest rates are high, inflation is high. More people are turning into rentals, which is pushing rental market extremely high. So rents have gone insane lately. So we've seen increases of two, three, $400 compared to last year. I mean, it's just insane. Never seen this before. including Section 8. As of September 1st, they're going to increase the voucher rental amounts. And I've seen increases anywhere like a two-bedroom from 200 to up to 400, 500 on a 3-4 bedroom voucher. So it's going to become extremely attractive to do rentals with the current market condition. Okay, so let me give you an example in just a second of how the numbers work and what our strategy is. But before we move forward, I just want to recap the key objectives and the key points that you need to focus on. Okay, the better path for attaining financial freedom is through real estate, owning rentals. Why? Net worth over time is going to continue to increase. Cash flow over time will continue to increase. Therefore, you don't have to worry about depleting your retirement account. It's going to be the opposite. You will have an increase in wealth over time, which is an amazing place to be. Okay? And you don't necessarily need to manage those rentals. You need to have a professional property management company do the day-to-day management of them, okay, to make sure that they continue to appreciate, that they are on top of tenants' requests and maintenance and upgrades and anything that is involved in property management. Okay, that's something that you do not want to do. So in a nutshell, taking advantage of tax depreciation, it's going to be one of the fastest instruments to defer tax payments, okay? And if you ever need to tap into equity for any unexpected expense, guess what? You don't have to sell those rentals. You need to refinance, do a cash out refinance, meaning that you are tapping into the equity to get money out. And again, you're not going to be paying for that additional mortgage payment. That's going to be paid by the tenants. Okay, so it's a win-win. Okay, so you always want to ideally have some sort of mortgage in a property because you're leveraging from really good debt. Okay, that it's being paid by the tenant at a very low interest rate. Although today rates are high, right? But still, compared to the benefits of increasing your net worth, it's totally worth it, okay? Obviously, your other approaches are flipping and wholesaling, but the drawback of those exit strategies is that you always need to be running on the treadmill. You always need to be finding deals, finding cash buyers, finding potential partners, rehabbing the properties, trying to sell them for the right price. So you are always working, right? So the key is for you to capitalize yourself by owning rentals and take advantage of passive income, right? So if you go somewhere in the world, right, you don't have to worry about time, that you're going to have that freedom of time. So that's the whole objective, right? To be able to accomplish retirement at an earlier age. Okay, so that has, to me, I think that's priceless, right? Having that freedom of time to do what's truly meaningful in your life, more so than having that wealth, financial wealth. Okay, that freedom of time, it's an intangible asset that you can never get back, right? Time is so precious. So if you can do what's truly meaningful in your life today, or a lot sooner than what you're expecting, it's priceless. Why not focus on that? So let me show you the secrets. So number one, you've got to have some sort of training, knowledge. We call this a secret sauce, which I'm just going to explain shortly. Number two, the second secret that you're going to need some mentors. You're going to need to have a great attorney, great accountant, inspectors, lenders, contractors, brokers, and we heavily leverage from virtual assistants. So what are virtual assistants? Virtual assistants are people that are going to help you accomplish any task that you want. Anything that you have not been able to do from your to-do list, virtual assistants are amazing at that. And they could be anywhere in the world. And they're going to be able to do them better, faster, more cost effective, more efficient than you could probably do them, right? So it is just an amazing way to leverage from other people's time and other people's money. Okay, so now let me share the third secret. Okay, great deals, right? So it's easier said than done, right? Everyone is looking for great deals. Are you gonna just extend your hand and will they come to you? Not necessarily. Okay, so the question is, what have we done to accumulate over 40 rentals in the last 4 years, right? How have we been able to acquire great deals over time? And the reason how and the answer to that is uh, through relationships, okay? We are in real estate in the people's business, okay? The houses, the properties are just the mean to get there, but we're truly in the people's business, okay? Most of the best deals that we've gotten have come from wholesalers that we know, key players that are happen to be our partners in the industry, and through close connections that happen to be real estate brokers. Okay, so we've been able to capitalize on these off-market leads from close connections that we've had. So the question is, how are you going to be able to leverage from these? Okay, so what we offer is training, meaning the secret sauce, which I'm just about to give you an example, our secret sauce. Okay, we're gonna give you when you're part of the DealVault network, we're gonna give you over 180 preferred partners that we utilize because you need a really good team of people that will make you successful. And then we are bringing the deals to you, whether off market or MLS. So let me show you what our strategy has been in the last 4 years. Okay, we call this the BRRRR. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it, but let's just quickly explain what this is. You buy the property, you rehab it, you rent it, and then you refinance. Okay, now the question is, let me quickly explain each phase. You buy a distressed property, ideally off market, because that's where you're going to find the bigger spreads, or it could be MLS. And we're going to be using a hard money lender or a private money lender, meaning it's quick and expensive money, short term, okay, that allows you to close and seize on opportunities super fast. So you should be able to close on a deal in 3-4 weeks, okay, using hard money lenders or private money lenders. The only difference is that hard money lenders are big institutions, private money lenders are individuals. So you have to eventually pay them off within the next 6 to 12 months. Okay, so you're going to take on a rehab. So that's the second phase. Ideally, with today's market condition, that is light to medium. So nothing over 75,000, right? So once you stabilize the property, meaning that you bought the property, you rehab the property, and you're ready to rent the property. Okay, so when you rent the property, that completes the process to stabilize the property. Okay, 1 second. Oh, we'll chat in a little bit.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you, Elvis. Okay, so once we stabilize the property, now it's time to pay off either the hard money lender or the private money lender. So we're going to need to refinance. What that means is that you are going to get a long-term loan, a rental loan on that property. Okay. And by the way, we do this using our entity LLC or S corporation to do real estate. Okay, we don't do it under our personal name. So let me give you an example of what the numbers look like on this strategy. So for instance, this property in Cicero was purchased for 135,000. So now when we talk about pricing, this is something really important for all of you who are investing in real estate. We realize that the sweet spot to buy properties for middle class households is below 200,000. Okay, so we realize that the best sweet spot and range for pricing is anywhere between 110 to 175. Okay, it could be less, it could be a little bit more. Okay. But the key component is that anytime that you go over 200,000 on the purchase price, your risk is going to increase exponentially. And then obviously you may minimize your return. So that's something to keep in mind. Why is that? Because you're buying bigger properties or properties that are in very nice neighborhoods where the requirements for rehabbing are going to be very hard, meaning that you need to do sort of like almost a perfect rehab. Okay, so you are getting into a different ball game where the risk is a lot higher. Okay, so that is why staying below 200,000 is just the best place to be, where you can maximize your return and minimize your risk. The second aspect is the rehab, right? In this case was a very light rehab, 12,000. Nowadays, any property that you touch that requires an upgrade in the kitchen and bathrooms for a 2-3 bedroom house, you're hitting 50, 60,000, okay? Because the increased cost of labor and material. So ideally, the sweet spot is to engage in a rehab that is going to be below $75,000. Why? Because anytime that you touch anything over 75,000, guess what? You're touching every single system in the property: electric, plumbing, windows, HVAC, perhaps roof. So you're just opening up too many cans of worms. You're bringing a lot of licensed contractors, electricians, plumber, HVAC. You are getting the villages inspectors on your house. So it could get really complicated. So the less you do, the better off you're going to be. Because if you think about it, we're in the business of investing, not in the construction business. And this is a myth, right? That people think that the more you do, the more money you're going to make. And it's the opposite. The more you do construction-wise, the less you may end up making, because you're opening up yourself for a lot of risk. In this particular example, all in purchase rehab is 147. After repair value came at 225. Okay, so you always want to end up with at least 25% equity on the back end. So in this case, what's 25%? Super simple. Divide the entire ARV in 4. Okay, so 3/4 should be your total investment, purchase and rehab. In this case, if the ARV is 225, let's divide that by 4. So it's about 160,000, 3/4 of the ARV. So this property all-in investment should not exceed 160,000 to accomplish a 25% equity on the back end. Now, why is this so important? Because if you end up with at least 1/4 or 25% equity in the back end, you're going to be able to have very little or no money stuck into the deal. Why? Because when you refinance, lenders will want you to have that equity position, 25 or more. So if the property price for 225, the most they're going to give you is 75% of the ARV. So 75% of 225 is about 160,000, 162,000. So in this case, you have two options. You can use pay off what you owe, that's called rating term, refinance, or if you want to tap into the equity that you still have, you can do a cash out refinance. Okay, so in this case, we just did a rating term refinance. So we paid what we owed, 150, and we ended up with 34% equity or 77,000. So what I was telling you earlier is that as time goes on and you pay down the principal, this equity position will continue to go up, to rise. So in the future, if you want to, let's say, pay for your kids' college, you can do another refinance and tap into that equity. Obviously, you always need to leave 25% equity in the property, but you can continue to do the same strategy for every single property. Okay, so by doing this, you will be able to tap into some equity to have pretty much zero money out of pocket stuck into the deal. Because in this case, to be able to buy this property, you need to bring to the table at least 10%. So what's 10% of 135? So you're looking at 15, 20,000 to buy this property. Okay. So if in the cash out refinance, in this particular case, you're able to not only pay off the loan of 147, but let's say tap into 10, 15,000 from the equity. What happens is that you're recycling the money. You are taking the money that you put for the down payment, right, out of the property. So you can put that money into the next deal. So ideally, you're going to have very little money stuck into each property, 10, 15,000 or so. So that's the power of owning rentals. That not only will you have very little money stuck into the property, but on top of it, this property will have cash flow. So the principal, interest, tax, and insurance is going to end up being about 1,400, 1,500, but the rent is close to 1,900. So the cash flow is anywhere between 400 to 500. Over time, again, that's going to continue to go up, and that's exactly what we were talking about earlier. So let me quickly show you an example of a property that we're refinancing this week. This happens to be in Dalton. Okay, so I'm going to make this bigger so you guys can see some of the numbers. So this property, we did it's a rental in Dalton, 4-bedroom, 1.5 bath. So we bought it for 65. We put in about 35, so all in about 100,000. Okay, and we paid for the property cash, but we used a private money lender. Okay, so we borrowed 85,000. Okay, so we borrowed the money for the purchase and a little bit more for the rehab. Obviously, we went over the rehab by 15, 20,000. So now when we refinanced, we only did a rating term. So we're going to pay off 85,000. So that means that we have 15,000 stuck into the property, 15,000, okay, that we couldn't get out of the property. So the total monthly payment for principal, tax, and insurance is going to be $1,042.36. Okay, so 1,050 to round the numbers. Okay, and we were able to rent this property for $2,000. Okay, so that means the monthly cash flow is going to be 950. So if you think about it, how long would it take before we recoup our 15,000? It's going to take about 16, 17 months. So less than 2 years, we're going to recoup our investment of 15,000. After that, the return is infinite because we have zero money stuck in the deal, yet our equity position is going to continue to go up every single year, and our cash flow will continue to go up over time. So infinite return. There's nothing like this available out there in the market as far as a financial instrument that is going to give you infinite return, okay? But real estate will. That is why owning rentals is going to allow you to leverage from other people's time, other people's money, increase your net worth, cash flow, allow you to have that freedom of time and financial freedom. So this is just a quick example looking at real numbers of how you will be able to recycle money, right? So our strategy is to stabilize the property. Buy a distressed property that doesn't require more than 75,000, fix it up, rent it out, and then refinance, meaning pay off the expensive money that we borrowed to buy the property and put it into a long-term 30-year loan. Leaving 25% equity in the property, but over time, again, that equity position will be greater and greater, that you can do another refinance for a cash out in the future, right? And that's going to be paid by the tenant. Because think about this. We could have done a cash out refinance. This property appraised for 150,000. So what's 75% of 150,000? Is about, so I divide 150 by 4. So that's about 35,000. So 36,000. So that means that 75% is a little bit over 100,000, right? So we could have taken pay off 85 and then cash out 15,000 as of today, right? But think about this. If we wait maybe 5, 6 years in the future, we may be able to, with the assumption that we're paying down the principal, appreciation, might be able to get not 15,000, maybe 20, 25,000 or more, right? And guess what? Our principal, tax, and insurance every single month may go up by maybe 300 to 300. Who's paying for that? The tenant is, and yet you would still be cash flowing. So owning rentals is a no-brainer, especially in today's market condition where rents are through the roof. And we've seen also an increase in inventory supply. So you're going to be able to find better deals because we're finding a lot of desperate sellers, right? That they just can't sell the property because the buyer pool has shrunk. So they want to sell the property. So you're going to be able to get better quality properties for better pricing. Are there any questions so far?
Yes, I have a question. Is it better to wholesale it, or is it better just to rent it out, or does it depend?
In what we discussed and the strategies that you need to apply. Any questions? Yeah, go ahead, Marianne.
Yes, I have a question.
Marlon, yeah, go ahead, Marlon.
Yeah, I was saying, is it
Go for
better
it. We
to
hear you.
yeah, Is it better to wholesale it, or is it better to rent it out, or does it depends?
Okay, so great question. When you have a great deal on the contract, first of all, you're going to be making money when you get a great deal on the contract. Okay, not when you rehab the property, not when you wholesale it. When you have a great deal on the contract, that's when you're going to make money. Okay, so the question is, will you wholesale it and make a finder's fee on it, or will you buy and hold? Um, so to answer that question is simple. If you have such a great deal, you wouldn't want to give up the golden goose. Okay, you want to take on that deal. And if you have a great deal, there will be plenty of people who would love to lend you the money or be part of it, right? Get a piece of the pie. So if it's a great deal, what do we mean by a great deal? A great deal is a property that when you buy it and rehab it, you have enough equity in the back end to be able to refinance at least 25 or more equity, to have almost very little money or no money stuck in the property. That's a great deal. Okay, so you need to in real estate do both strategies, wholesaling and buy and hold. So the question is, which properties would you wholesale? And the answer is simple. You want to wholesale what you don't want to take on. Okay? It doesn't mean that the numbers don't make sense. No, you're going to wholesale a property that the numbers are going to make sense, but it may not be in your neighborhood or wherever you want to do investing. It might be way too far for you, or it may require a very extensive rehab. Okay, so in our particular case, we will wholesale properties that require over $75,000 in rehab. Okay, we don't want to take on those projects because right now, the risk is too high. Okay, but if the rehab is light or medium, we will take on those projects regardless of the location. It could be in the south, in the north. If the numbers make sense and the location is decent where we can cash flow, then we're going to go for it. Okay, so again, if you have a great deal, think about it. If you want to give up the golden goose, so just take on the project. Okay, because remember, real estate is a long-term investment. So owning rentals, it's a critical component of it. Wholesaling, flipping, you will always need to be running on the treadmill. So you have to find deals and repeat, do the same thing, right? Find the cash buyer or buy it, fix it up and sell it, hopefully for what you're expecting. So you always need to be working. Whereas rentals, eventually you're going to be able to increase your net worth, increase your cash flow. Don't have to worry about a retirement plan because your properties are going to become the best retirement instrument that you can potentially acquire. I hope that answered your question, Marlon.
Yeah, it sure did. Thanks a lot. I got it.
No
Thank you.
problem. Anybody else? Any other questions? Nick, Oscar, Sam, Veronica, Jessica, Jeff, George, Alberto. Anything that you guys want to add, comment, suggest?
I'd like to add something really at the end. When you're in buy and hold situations and you've had the property several years, do not take depreciation when it comes tax time. Each and every year you have the property, your accountant will ask you, do you want to depreciate it? You do not want to depreciate it. And the reason for that is it's really just a loan from the IRS. And when you go to liquidate the property, you'll have to pay that, repay that discount for each year you took it. Happened to
Right,
me.
right. When you sell the property, absolutely. So, and
Do
also
not
the
take
longer,
depreciation.
yeah, the longer you own the property, towards the end, I mean, the less the tax depreciation benefit. So what's your strategy, Rich, when you own a property? Let's say the Markham property right now that you spent money on the rehab. What's your tax strategy? Are you gonna claim the depreciation for the rehab, or what's your plan?
No, I'm not going to take any depreciation at all because, as I said, the IRS just considers that a discount. And if you sell the property early enough, like within 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you got to pay that money back.
Right, right. That's a good point. But are you thinking about selling the property within the
No,
next
no,
5 years?
that's the beauty of the question earlier. The gentleman was asking about, what's the best strategy? Really, every situation is independent unto itself. And it also depends on where you are in your life. If you have a situation where you're in need of money, wholesaling, flipping, that's really what you want to focus on, because when the time comes and you have some money, you want to be able to invest like Hugo has, like I have, like several other people on here have. Hold and buy and hold. And Hugo's right. The HUD is increasing the rents that they're paying. What I thought we were going to get in Markham, I know Hugo will echo this, is higher now than what we originally thought it was going to be when we purchased it. Significantly higher. So buying holds is really good. This young generation, the X, the Ys, the Zs, I don't know what it is even anymore, but they don't want to own. They want to rent. That's, I'm a real estate broker. This is what I do. This generation doesn't want that. They just want to rent, and you want to be the one renting to them. There's no law saying you can't retire early. I'm 61 years old and figuring it out now.
Right. So what's your retirement strategy, Rich?
My retirement strategy, strictly at this point in my life, is to buy and hold and just continue that march. We're set up, financially really good. Between Social Security if it's there, and and retirement money from stocks and bonds, and the income off the properties. We're gonna try and pick up a property a year for the next 3, 4 years and retire. We're done.
Absolutely. Like for
You know,
instance, your Markham property, right? It's all free and clear, right? Including the
it's all free
rehab.
and clear. That was just a smart buy. It was a good move. I'm feeling blessed that it happened. I've had nothing but a good relationship with the neighbors that are around me. I think it's important to go out, and when you do buy in these neighborhoods, go out and press palms with the immediate neighbors. Let them know who you are and why you're there.
Right.
You're there to help and improve it. And those are the kind of people, and then give them your number. If you ever see anything funny going on, give me a call. Just
Right.
that kind of thing. And then what I've done is I've went ahead and hired people in the neighborhood to cut the lawn, do odd jobs around the place. When people see that you're investing in the neighborhood and the people in it, you have a different perception when you walk in there. People perceive you as help.
Absolutely. Like for instance, I'm thinking your cash flow on that property will be over 1,500. With
Yeah,
the
it's going to be huge. And all
it's
I'm
gonna
doing
be
now
humongous.
is what we're doing. We have a small mortgage left on our property in Palatine, and we're using the proceeds from this property to pay that mortgage off. And then we'll have, 3 properties free and clear, bringing in money. Right now we'll be somewhere around 6,000 a month.
Whoa. Yeah, that's pretty incredible. That's very incredible. And then
But
over time, that's what we're talking about. Your cash flow will continue to go up and your net worth, right? The property values continue to go up.
that's
So
absolutely the case.
that's huge.
Whoever's not involved with Chicago DealVault probably should be. If I was young in my career, this would have been the direction I would have gone. I have a son-in-law that is married to my daughter, and just a terrific young man, and he just got his real estate license, and hoping he sees the opportunities early. So I'm just kind of letting him see what I do, and hopefully he jumps on, because he's a young guy, 37 years old, and there's no rule. Everyone listen to this. There's no rule that says you can't retire early.
Absolutely. And that it's that freedom of time, right? That it's extremely powerful.
Oh my goodness. Look at all the time you get with your children. Oh, that's, you can't beat that.
Exactly. I mean, it's priceless, right?
No doubt.
Yeah, because that's, time is, an intangible asset that will never come back. So we have to make the most out of it and then invest smart in real estate.
Yeah, just, buy low and hold on to it. That's probably the best thing. Hold on to it.
Exactly. Absolutely. So thank you very much, Rich, for your comments and sharing your success stories. Big kudos to you. I mean, I think you've done amazing. So I'm so proud of you, Rich. Great job.
I've been blessed.
Yes.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Rich. Anybody else? Any other comments, feedback, questions? Okay, so if no further comments, please feel free to reach out to us. You can send an email to support@chicagodealvault.com. We can schedule a one-on-one if you want to discuss your particular situation and see how we can help you. Today, the way we're working with investors is that we bring the deal, we provide funding, we help you facilitate partnerships with other members, investors, and we share resources like contractors, preferred partners. So it's been extremely powerful, and we want to help you uh, get where you want to get in your investment career. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, for joining. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm going to leave my cell phone on the chat, 773-368-4551. Feel free to reach out, and then we'll be happy to assist. There's a question by Oscar. Could you please repeat the 4 division? Oh, so as you buy the property, you rehab the property, you rent the property, and then you refinance. So that's the 4-step process. That's our strategy that we've been using. Thank you, Oscar. So thank you everyone for joining tonight. Have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to hearing from all of you.